This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia. Listen to my radio show, A Tip from Gilbert. Talk, inspiration, and prayer every Monday from 11 a.m. till noon on Houston's gospel leader, KWWJ. 1360 AM and streaming live on kwwj.org. Listen on the legendary KYOK 1140 AM and streaming live on kyokradio.org. KCOH 1230 AM, The Source on San Geek Radio 95.1 FM 1460 AM and Aliento Radio 101.7 FM and 1540 AM. Call in at 832-570-8075 and follow me on social media. See you then. All right, Houston, this is Gilbert Garcia with another episode of A Tip from Gilbert. Talk, inspiration, and prayer. And again, I want to thank all my partners, and there are so many. KWWJ, Keep Walking with Jesus. KYOK, the legendary. KCOH, The Source, Aliento Radio, and Sangeet. And again, AM and FMs all around the city. And call in anytime, 875. And I have my professional laugher here with me. And that's one of my partners, Ruby Day. Ruby, welcome.
Hi, Gilbert, and hello, everyone. Hello, Houston. So great to be here again Monday at Tip from Gilbert.
There you go.
Let me see what our tip is today.
Well, you know what Jed Clampett said on Beverly Hillbillies when they said, "Oh, he was there and he had just arrived into the hotel there in Beverly Hills, and so he doesn't know about bellmen and hotels." And so he was there, and it was this wonderful suite, everything. And the bellman was there, and he brought in the suitcases. And there he was with his hand out going, uh-huh. And Miss Hathaway, who's Mr. Drysdale's assistant, said, "He's waiting for a tip." And Jed goes, "Oh, he's waiting for a tip." He goes, "Son, plant your corn early." That was the tip. Plant your corn early. Well, we have a great guest again.
Yes.
I brought him back because, well, first of all, is this a fair thing to say when you say he's my favorite pastor? I don't know if you can say that because all of a sudden all these pastors are like, wait a minute. But he certainly is just a great guy. And that, of course, is Claude Cummins, pastor from Victory International Church. Well, welcome.
And always glad to be here with you, Gilbert. Always so thankful to you for what you do. This is a ministry. I don't know if you knew you were in ministry or not, but you are in ministry. This is a ministry, and I'm always thankful for the opportunity to be able to come on your show.
Well, you're so welcome. And I want to make sure, apparently we had some problems the first 5 minutes or so last week, so I apologize, Houston, and I'm going to try to get a lot of those people back to make sure everybody heard whatever they had to say. Are we comfortable that everything's working, guys? Okay, wonderful. So here we are, and I just want to say, Pastor, what's it like now, being a pastor of a church and having a flock and everything? I mean, you must be like feeling really good.
It's amazing. And let me say this, first and foremost, doing this election.
No, hold on a second. He doesn't sound clear to me, Mr. Producer. Keep going.
Yeah, doing this election and campaign season, my church has been phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Very supportive. And so they always like to say that I've been a blessing, that I'm a blessing to them, but they are definitely a blessing to me. And I want to let the Victory International Church know that I love you all very dearly. I love you all very dearly. So thank them for their support. But being a pastor of a church is amazing. It's an awesome responsibility, one that I do not take lightly. It's a calling from God, and I'm glad God chose me to be able to feed the flock.
I am so glad he did you. Now, let me ask you this. This might be a silly question, Ruby, but I just want to know, to be a pastor, is one of the requirements, someone has to sing in your family, like you or your, because your wife's like a great singer.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like that's one of the things.
Right.
You got to be able to sing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look at Lakewood Church, and I had an opportunity to go worship with them, Pastor Osteen's daughter is like an amazing performer, singer, and so is your wife. So is that like one of the things?
No, I just think it's a commonality, right? So my wife sung in the church, which meant that she went to church a lot, and we met because of church. And I just think that it's one of those things. I like to say that God sends you what you need when you need it. And so I always, the first time I went to church and my wife sung, I was like, that's it. She hadn't cooked. I didn't know if she could cook. I didn't know any of those things, but I went to church. I went to church.
She can't cook, but you know what? She can sing.
I went to church and she was singing, and I was like, wow, that's one of the first things that attracted her to me.
That is so great.
Can I add one thing? One thing it is.
I thought you were going to say you can sing, or you can show.
Well, it's kind of in the vein of singing. One, of course, I think it's very important to have that uplifting music at church, right?
Definitely.
But Pastor, you may not know this. We also have something similar to that, and you wouldn't think that singing has anything to do with managing of money.
Really?
But one thing that we do, because just like your congregation, you have your flock, right?
Sure,
well, we have our flock within our trading floor, right? And one thing that we do is when new folks come in or visitors come in, we ask them to sing a song.
Oh, really?
And it's something really exciting and interesting to see. One, to be able to be on the spot to do that, and two, what song they pick, and then three, to be able to present it. So we've had many of folks that come out and also on the trading floor and sing.
Yeah, and let me say this: I have been one who was privileged to witness the karaoke.
Oh, you did see us in action.
The karaoke, and you have some very talented singers here.
You know what?
At Gilbert and Associates, you have some talented singers.
Yeah. You know what? I do, except I'm not one of them.
Right.
But we already have a bunch of callers already.
Sure.
So let's hold on, and I want to talk a little bit about an article I saw about Metro.
Yes.
And I want to also just really say something about Pastor Osteen and Lakewood Church as well.
Sure.
So let's go to the first caller there, Miss Producer. And I forgot that name. If you want to put it back up there for me. Kale. Kale or Kale? Hale. Can you Kale, can you hear me?
Hale.
Hi. How are you?
I tried 12 times and I got it wrong 13 times. Please accept my apology.
You know what? It's totally fine. My name is Elizabeth Hale, like Yale.
Yes, Elizabeth. Oh my God, I'm so glad that you called in. So speak to me. How are you?
I am so great, and I am so blessed to be having the opportunity to talk to you today.
Well, talk to us. What's going on now with you and everything else with elections?
Oh my gosh, what's not going on?
I know, right? I mean, tell me about it. Remind us, what are you running for?
I am running for being the best baker across the country. That's what I'm running for. I own Cake Fine Pastry. I'm talking about the Bakers Guild Award.
Oh, with Chef Willie.
Yes.
Oh my God, he is like a gentleman and a half. He's such a great guy. So, are you going to be one of the? Are you one of the contestants, or you're talking about the gala coming up? I think it's in May or something like that.
I had the honor of winning the Patisserie Award last year, and I am not in the running this year, but I'm okay with that. And I am just sending my love and support for the gala. It's going to be completely awesome.
And the gala is what day is that? I'm just trying to get
the gala is on Saturday, March 9th.
Now,
doors open at 6.
Now, when you are a chef, you're more than that, because I never knew about, the chef world until, I got to know Chef Willie. And all of you are really entrepreneurs, and most of you have your own businesses and things. And I never appreciated the impact that COVID had until I, heard from him. And my goodness, how are you doing? And do you have a restaurant, or are you like doing catering?
No, I have 2 brick and mortars. I have a coffee shop, and I also have a custom cake boutique, 2 separate locations. And COVID really hit us in the gut. We're just now bouncing back from that. We didn't qualify for any of the ERCs or anything like that, unfortunately.
Let me ask you this: where's your brick and mortar? Where are you at?
So Cake Fine Pastry is located off Eldridge and 529, which is kind of northwest Houston. And Plum Coffee Shop is located off of Barker Cypress in 290.
And are you feeling, I mean, are things coming back? Or is the economy picking up? Is it slow? I mean, what do you, because you're on the ground.
I feel like is trying to come back, honestly. But on the flip side of that, we were just in such a deep hole that it's really hard to gain that traction to come back. Cake Fine Pastry, I feel like, is coming back because we are such a niche product. But now we have so much competition with the coffee shop on Barker Cypress, with 8 new coffee shops opening, close to a small mom and pop. You know, it's how do we even stay afloat with that? Well,
Houston, if you can hear me, please, you've got to support our local businesses. You got to, because, you know, number one, we're all in this together. And a lot of them are so creative. This isn't like going and getting a sheet cake at some, you know, big department grocery.
Big box store.
Yeah,
right.
This is like the real deal. And so please, and by the way, since I have you, one of my wife's and daughter's favorite show is that bake contest on TV. And now they have
one of those.
Now they have the kids bake contest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was watching the kids that baked, I don't know what it's called, with my wife. And I mean, these kids, Ruby, are like, and Pastor, they're like 8 years old.
Yeah.
And then there they are talking about, and you got to shift it through, and you got to get the butter. And I'm like, oh my God, when I was 8 years old, I think I was just like watching the Three Stooges. And maybe I was throwing the football outside. But these kids are like, they're like artists.
Yes.
And they're so mature already, and they just love their craft. I mean, they bake because they love it. And I just was struck by that. So how long have you been cooking or baking?
We've been baking. My husband and I is the baker. My husband's the baker and I'm the decorator. We've been doing this for about 14 years. We did make it to the Food Network. So that is a really tough competition, you know, when you're in front of the cameras and trying not to use 12 eggs when you're only supposed to use 3.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let me just say this. What do you want to say? I want to give you the last word. We got a bunch of callers today. What your last word?
My last words are buy ticket to the Bakers Guild Awards. You're supposed to go. It's going to be awesome. You are benefiting the scholarship fund for the bakers, and just support small local business. If you don't support small local dollars, how can we all survive?
Amen. I sure hope you call again, because I want to make sure we pump up the whole gala.
Oh, I would love to call again.
Yeah, please. You're welcome to come anytime, but especially between now and May, let's really pump it up for Chef.
That's right. May 9th. Doors open at 6 p.m. Saturday, May 9th.
May 9th. Thank you so much.
Awesome show. Silent auctions and everything. Thank you so much for your time, Gilbert.
Thank you for calling in. No, you are. And thank you for all that you do. And everyone, give us the name and the addresses again of your 2 locations.
Okay. Cake Fine Pastry, 13010 Farm to Market Road 529, Houston, Texas, 77041. Plum Coffee Shop, 11688 Barker Cypress Road, Cypress, Texas, 77433.
Thank you so much.
I got that right.
No, and you said it all in like 3 seconds there. I say that 10 times fast, and let's see what happens. Thank you.
I grew up on Dr. Seuss. How can you tell?
There you go. Thank you for calling in.
All right, my dear. Well, y'all have a wonderful day, and thank you so much. To be blessed.
Amen. Before we go to the next caller, so Pastor, you are running for tax assessor.
Harris County Tax Assessor Collector.
And let me ask you this: how's the turnout been so far?
The numbers,
is it high, low?
The numbers are very low.
Are they?
Yes, the numbers are very low. And so we just want to encourage everyone to go and vote. And of course, if you do your research and you find that I'm the best candidate, I'd love to have your vote. Claude Cummings III, Harris County Tax Assessor Collector. I'm number 3 on the ballot.
Well, I did my research.
Yes, sir.
And you're the best.
Thank you, sir.
And you know what?
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
you're
sir.
number 3 because you're the 3rd.
And
Claude Cummings is the 3rd.
And I have 3 daughters.
And you have 3 good. Oh my God! I mean, oh my God! I'm blown away.
A sign for the buck.
It must be from Nostradamus, because he foresaw everything.
Yeah.
But no, I really mean, what can we do to get people to vote? Houston, Houston, this is your town, and I know a lot of you in Fort Bend and other things. We need you. We need you. We need you, because as my mom said, if you don't vote, don't complain. And there's so much going on in the city, in this county. What do you think we can do?
just to get people to understand that their vote really does matter.
It does.
And even if the candidate you are supporting doesn't win, doesn't mean that you need to stop voting.
Amen to that.
You keep voting, because your vote is your voice. And so just get out and use your voice and exercise your right to vote.
And I know you've been working hard. Where have you been the last couple of days? I know you've been all over the place.
Oh, Gilbert, I've worked 7 or 8 polls personally, myself out there. And my mother-in-law is working a poll. My wife is working a poll right now, as a matter of fact, out at Fallbrook Church. And so it's really been a blessing to turn the corner and not just see maybe some people that you are paying to work the poll, but to see family members out there on your support because they want to see Claude Cummings become the next tax assessor collector.
Oh, that warms my heart. When it's a family affair, it's just fantastic.
It's amazing.
Well, hold that thought. We already have, I think we got like 5 callers. Is there a Jerry Rodriguez on?
Yes, good morning, Gilbert. Jerry Rodriguez speaking.
Jerry, you got me, Gilbert Garcia, from a tip from Gilbert. I've got Ruby Dang and Pastor Cummins. What do you got going there, my friend?
Hey, I'm out here at the polls as well, just pushing the vote out, right? Trying to get people to come out as well, and pretty much just get people to come out and vote.
Please
like,
excuse
you mentioned
me.
earlier.
Please excuse me. Are you're a candidate, right?
I sure am. Yes, sir.
And what are you a candidate for again? Please remind me. Precinct 6?
No,
Five,
sir. So
five,
I'm running for. That's correct. Running for Harris County Constable, Precinct 5. Sir.
Well, let me ask you this. Tell us, all of us that are listening, and you're talking to, essentially all of Houston and Harris County here right now.
Yes,
what is a constable? I mean, I'd like to think I know things, but you got a sheriff, you got a police department, you got an HISD police, you got Metro Police. Tell us again for the layperson, what does the constable do, and who are the different members of the constable, and how does it all work?
Yes, sir. Great question. We get that a lot, right? So the constables are police officers, just like everybody else, just like the sheriff, just like the Houston PD and everybody else. Now, the constables oversee a lot of the county itself. We have jurisdiction all over Harris County. Now, what we do when we come in is we supplement and help out the sheriff's department, HPD, and take up calls of service. So, as you guys know, a lot of the calls for Houston police and sheriffs, they're overwhelmed. They're understaffed. Constables come in and help alleviate a lot of that pressure by getting those calls for service, getting there in a timely fashion, and essentially taking care of the exact same thing that the sheriff's departments and HPD can do. We do the exact same job.
Very interesting. So does that mean if I have a problem, do I call my constable or do I call HPD? And if you call 911, who gets dispatched?
See, that all comes to, I guess, cell phone towers and where you are at in regards to location in the city. If you call 911, it'll go to the closest cell phone tower, and they'll go ahead and disseminate the calls from there. Now, if you live in Precinct 5, in areas that we patrol, I would say you call our direct dispatch number. You cut the middleman out, and you get us directly.
Oh, well, what's your number? What is it?
So Precinct 5's number is 281-463-6666. Now, that covers on the west side of town.
Okay, wonderful. Well, what do you want to say? Where's your website or your headquarters and everything?
For the Precinct 5? Right?
No, for you and your campaign.
Oh, perfect. Okay, just wanted to clarify.
No, I got you.
Well, it's an open seat right now. And myself, I've been there for 17 years already at Precinct 5. I currently already work there. I know the ins and outs of that place like everybody. I know that place inside and out. So my goal is to continue on to provide excellent service that we've already been providing, if not make it even better. You need somebody who's educated. I got a bachelor's and master's in criminal justice. I taught college for 9 years. I have the experience. I have the resumes. I have everything. But more importantly, I have the passion to help our community out. And I think that's what's lacking nowadays, is the passion to actually help people instead of just throwing everybody in jail.
Amen. Well, thank you so much for calling. And I really hope you called. It's good your audience is enjoying you too. Just please call in again if you don't mind between now and election day.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
What a good guy, right? He sounded like he's just like on the Johnny on the spot, as they say.
Right.
We've got more callers. Hold on. We got a Peter. Is there a Peter on the phone? Peter.
Peter?
Peter, you there?
Hello, Peter. Hello. I'm transferring you to Gilbert. One moment.
Peter, speak to us. Peter, can you hear me? Peter. Well, while we're waiting on Peter, what was really interesting to me was this, it can happen anywhere, right? Random violence.
Yes.
Pastor, I mean, in a minute, I'm going to ask you just to pray for this country. Yes. Because, here are these Kansas City Chief fans and all these kids. All they want to do is see a parade, and all of a sudden these kids are all shot. And then, of course, there's in the Latino Mass with Lakewood Church, thank goodness there were some of these off-duty police, or maybe they were on duty, I don't know, and they got them.
Yeah.
And it could have been horrific.
Yes.
And what was very interesting was Pastor Osteen. He was really so, you would think he'd be, I don't know, bitter, mad. No, he was all about love and forgiveness.
And compassion.
I mean, what an extraordinary thing. Would you just say a prayer for us? Because we've got to bring some rational thinking back in here.
Yeah. Well, we actually had something
tell us
here.
Yeah, what happened?
I'm not too sure of all the details, but apparently Saturday evening, there was a shooting right in front of our office. I think it was two teenagers that got into a scuffle. They were on scooters, and I think someone told them to get off because you're not supposed to ride scooters.
Right.
So,
and of course, they're all over the place, and you see the scooter things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of those teenagers was carrying a gun and shot that individual. So, it was scary because I saw the building on TV. I was
Oh
like,
my gosh!
That's
and it's just those scooters. Look, they look like fun, but at the end of the day, they're just roaming in and out, and you're walking all calm with your spouse or your child or something, and then bam, they're like coming through, and there's got to be something to really put the brakes on that.
Yeah, and the truth is, okay, we got to learn to work out disagreements without violence.
And that's
we could just talk through things.
That's the key.
Would you please, Pastor?
Sure. A brief prayer. Father in heaven, we come, God, saying, first of all, we have to thank you for this day. We thank you for, God, waking us up this morning, allowing us to be a part of it. God, again, as we look at all the violence that is taking place around this country, we want to first and foremost acknowledge that you are still in charge. And although we may question the violence, we know that you still rule and reign. And again, we ask that you would protect each and every last one of us. We ask that you would allow peace instead of violence throughout our lives. And again, God, we are trusting you because you know all, you are above all. And so in your son, Jesus Christ's name, again, we ask for peace on earth. Amen.
Amen. What a beautiful prayer. Pastor, maybe this is why I'm not a pastor, because I don't know. Sometimes when I see these things, I think I question my own faith somehow. And I know that sounds awful.
No, it doesn't.
And my priest is going to say, Gilbert, no, you can't do it. But sometimes you just say, there's madness.
Mm-hmm.
How can that be part of this great plan? But you got to have faith.
It's all about faith. You got to have faith. You can't be afraid to live life because you're fearful of something that's going to happen. And again, you just have to trust. You have to trust God. That's what you have to do.
You got to trust God. That should be like a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Trust God.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, Pastor. So when you decided to jump in to run for office,
yes,
what was the catalyst? Did you just say one day, you know what? I think I'm going to run. Or have you always been thinking about it? How did that all come about?
Yeah, so I love county politics. I love county government. I always have.
How long have you been with the county?
This is my 7th year in the county. And of course, I've been around politics all my life, with the majority of my adult life, of course, with my father. But Gilbert, I wanted to get a rent house. I did. And so I went down to the auction, and I'm sitting around with my little coins. And as people are losing their homes, it was nothing but the Holy Spirit who said, everyone is taking advantage of these people, but no one's helping. no one is here helping, and so when this position came open, here's your chance to help. Here's your chance to help people who are losing their homes. Here's your chance to be an advocate. Here's your chance to educate people on how to stay in their homes. And that was really what pushed me to run for this office. What
a beautiful story.
Yeah.
If only more people, especially our electeds, had that feeling, which is, I just need to, I want to help.
Yes.
I want to be a public servant.
Yes.
With the word servant capitalized.
Yes.
Let's go to another question. And I know a lot of you keep going. Brian, Miss Griffin, I see you. 2 years, no answers. Oh my gosh, we're going to get you on the air to talk about that. And I did see that they are now making the jailers, if I'm not mistaken, wear cameras. So I want to kind of get into that with you later on there, Miss Jackie. Go back. I didn't see those names. Please excuse me. Patricia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Gilbert.
Miss Patricia, is this from the East End, Patricia?
East End Communities, yes.
I'm so glad you're calling me because, again, Houston, we talked a little bit about it, and I really want to talk a whole bunch more about it. And Miss Patricia, I want to get you on my show as a show because, what I heard, and I'm going to give you the airtime here in a second, is I heard that, Ruby, I don't know if I told you, right, that Greyhound has moved their bus terminal.
Yeah.
And remember here in Midtown, when you come in downtown to come to work,
right,
there was always a bunch of, undesirable activity,
right?
Just to be kind, right there around the bus stop,
right?
And it just seems to be a magnet for stuff, crime and all kinds of things. Well, I don't know what's going on, but I'd like to know. Curious minds like mine want to know. And you know what? I'm here as an instrument for Houston, and so I think we should all know they moved to. And everyone has a right to move wherever you want, but they moved to the neighborhood in the East End, and it's like, wait a minute. Did that just happen in the night? I mean, when did that? Were there hearings about it?
Yeah.
Did elected officials know about it? Were there alternative sites? Why so close to the city? I mean, I have all kinds of questions, and I don't know how big the operation is on the East End because the buses they take a. Remember, I was Mr. Metro.
Right.
You got these what do you call lanes? The Bay lanes, and you got it takes a lot, and so I wonder how many. Buses would go through the Midtown and how many now are going through the East End. And I think we should just keep track of police calls here on the East End. And my gut is between now and next year, they're going to skyrocket. But I don't know.
So it's up and running
at
East End? Oh,
yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I knew that.
Yes.
Wow.
Ms. Patricia, tell us. Enlighten us, please.
Well, yes, and I appreciate you giving me this airtime just to keep this in our in our minds right now, because I think the thought is that people in Magnolia Park, East End, were just going to get used to this and it wouldn't affect their lives. But this was not a good thing to happen. The way it happened and the fact that it just doesn't even sound like a good business decision.
Did you just wake up one day and there it is, or were there hearings? I mean, community meetings?
No, they were for the community. Most people heard it on the news on Tuesday, and the announcement was that Thursday they would be fully operational in the East End. I think even their passengers, their clients, didn't know because there weren't like signs posted moving to Magnolia Park. It was just. People didn't, what I saw in the news, or people didn't know how to connect if they got dropped off there. How do I get downtown? So it was intentionally very low key. And what you were talking about, what we have is that at Midtown, the information we have at Midtown, there were 15 bus bays.
15.
15.
Okay.
So it was like a whole block, right?
Right.
And they have been operating in Magnolia Park on a very small scale. And there are 4 bus bays in Magnolia Park, but they moved their whole operation there. There's on Harrisburg Boulevard, which is where this terminal is right off of Harrisburg Boulevard. And granted, there are other bus lines that go to Mexico operating from Harrisburg, but it's a different clientele. And so these bus bays, the concerns of the community were that it would increase traffic and street congestion. Mm-hmm. The criminal activity that was going on in Midtown, everyone knew that. It was not a secret. Would now, because it's the same vulnerable population that this element preys on, right? Increased air and noise pollution from the buses because they idle, right, while they're waiting. And the proximity of the bus station to Edison Middle School, Franklin Elementary, Briscoe Elementary, and Gallegos Elementary School. 3 schools just right down the block. Why is that a concern? Because the Greyhound station is the stop from the Texas Department of
Corrections.
Corrections. Yes.
Wow.
And yeah, so there, what we received from TDCJ was there are, just in this fiscal year, they've been like, how many people arrived there? They like 3,000 people travel by bus of the 12,000 that are released, right? And at the Houston station, there would be like 617 people arriving, and really like 1,000, because 616 arrived to Houston and 458 arrived, but supposedly depart to other locations. So, I mean, all it takes is, 1 or 2 incidences to create a problem there. And
well, let me ask you this: how come it's whenever there's something? And Pastor, I'm going to look at you too. Whenever there's something, or we're going to look at you. Whenever there's something, a new dump, a new cement thing, a new, it's always in the black or brown community. Why is that, Houston? There's something not right, and maybe it all goes back to we just need to raise hell. And can I say the word hell on this tape? Yeah. Can I rate? Is that one of those 7 words you can't say on the radio? No. You got to say it, because maybe that's what's going on, Patricia, that we just got to say, wait a minute. It wouldn't happen. I mean, look, God bless, but it wouldn't happen in my neighborhood. It wouldn't. It wouldn't.
Right.
The truth of the matter is, Gilbert, it's a lack of value for the people who live in those neighborhoods.
Imagine, that's right.
It's right. And nobody wants to say it, but that's just the truth of the matter.
That's right.
That's it.
Because then people are going to say, well, I don't want to go buy a house right by there. Patricia, what do you think? Am I right, or am I just like, Gilbert, you're just being too sensitive?
I think that's the key question. Why in this neighborhood? And as we peel away this onion, Greyhound right away, when they did agree to meet with some of the elected officials, Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia and State Senator Carol Alvarado and some of the other electeds. And what they said right away was that the media is not being accurate. We let the mayor's office know in June or July that this move was going to be made to Magnolia Park. And at a recent community meeting there in the East End with all the law enforcement agencies, Greyhound again said that they received a letter from the mayor's office in April telling them they needed to move. So it's hard for me to believe that there was not back and forth communication saying, okay, we have plans to move and here's where we're going to move. So this is, it's hard to point the finger at who are the bad guys here, because we systemic. And you're right. It's either dumping sites or concrete, factories, or batches. Yes, they're not choosing neighborhoods that don't look like us.
Well, it just seems to me we don't need any more meetings. I mean, the last thing we need is another meeting. I mean, it's almost like people will have a meeting. Have you ever seen this, Pastor? They have a meeting to set up the next meeting. Well, I mean, it's like saying, all right, these are the things that we need, Greyhound. I'm making it up. We need a police officer that will be there on site, a security person. We need to know if you're going to expand it. We want the ability to have input on that if you're going to start bringing in any more. Right. We need some security guard, or what do you call those guys? Like crossing guard. Remember the old elementary school? Yeah. I mean, someone's just got to say, and our elected officials, this is what we need, okay? You're here. We get it. Who knows about what the mayor said back then? Right. But let's make it livable.
Well, here's the meeting that really disturbs me. The meeting that disturbs me is the meeting that takes place after the decision has already been made. Mm-hmm. It's not like we're meeting to get your opinion on this happening. No, we're meeting to let you know what decision has already been made.
Very interesting.
And to get your opinion about it. It's too late then.
That's a very good point.
Bring us in on the meeting before you decide to put the bus stop in our neighborhood.
Yeah, and they probably just had people that were community outreach and that are just there to say, yes, I hear you. And they're just professional,
Well, another thing that popped in my head, and I don't know if I'm right in this, but so I thought that the location downtown at Greyhound, so that's not there. Didn't they also close the McDonald's that's right in front of it?
Across the street.
So what's coming up? Was there an opportunity?
You already know.
Exactly.
And were we included in the potential information and who owns that property and who's there you go again. Well, I think this issue is just larger, which is it's just all about when you look at the wealth inequality in this country, it is so great, greater than it's ever been. And if you look, it's imperative that if we're ever going to really get the city to go to the future and all the wonderful things we talk about, you cannot do it without getting greater wealth creation in the Black community and in the Hispanic community. The Hispanic community is half the city now, and even the Vietnamese and the Asian community, because they're probably one of the fastest growing, and they're in the same soup, so to speak. And you've just got to, and it starts with home ownership. It starts with better schools, all those things. Well, Miss Patricia, would you just please? And I want to make sure I have a whole show with you. So I'm going to call you if you don't mind, just sort of sticking around. I want to just put it on the calendar, on my calendar, if you don't mind.
Yes,
if
thank
you have time.
No, of course. This is a much a deeper subject, but I just wanted to clarify one thing, or just make an additional point, was that the law enforcement agencies locally did all come together, and they have a plan to address the safety issues, but the question to me is that creates a burden on the community that was unnecessary. We didn't, right? So I just wanted to say that there is response, but just like the meetings that are held after the decision, the solutions that are held because you created a problem that we did not. Is not right.
Well, I guess my view is I definitely hear you, but at the end of the day, it's just not good enough about, we're going to start patrolling here more. I think Greyhound should put a full-time security person there. And what do I know? Other than if I were a citizen there, I'd say, I want to make sure my little son, Diego, or my daughter is going to be fine. I don't want to take a chance, because all it takes is a one-time chance. The police aren't there, and bam, and bam. Ms. Patricia, thank you very much for calling in.
Thank you so much.
So I want to come back to you, Pastor. So have you identified, when you go in to the tax assessor office, are there three things that Gilbert, I really want to do this, this, and this?
Yes.
Do you have that? What is it?
Without a doubt. So take office January the 1st. January the 2nd, everyone who's scheduled to lose their home on that first Tuesday of the month, I'm going to call them and I'm going to ask them if they want to keep their home. And if they say yes, I'm going to put them on a payment plan so they can keep their home. That's a number one.
Why does that sound like, there you go.
That's first and foremost.
First of all, maybe it takes, I don't know if this sounds loaded or not, but maybe it takes a pastor. It takes a spiritual person, someone grounded in faith, to recognize my job isn't to get these things, people kicked out and this, that. My job is really figure out how do I find a way for them to stay in.
Yes.
Oh my God, what a big
and what
heart.
I want people to understand is that the battle that I'm really fighting on this campaign trail is the question I get, well, how can you do that? Because people are so accustomed to it only being run one way.
Yeah.
And that's by the book. You got an auction house, and I'm saying, no, there's a different vision that you can have for the Office of Tax Assessor Collector. And that's what I want to bring. I want to bring a different vision, a different mentality where we help people stay in their homes.
How many homes, because I don't know, are auctioned every week or month? Do you know?
I don't have a number for that.
I wonder if it's, Ruby, is it like thousands or is it like
but
50?
I can tell you this, in November, when I purchased that list, there were 101 homes that were going to be auctioned off on that one day.
Wow. So
101 across the county, 101 homes.
So if you figure 100.
And it happens every month.
God, just like that.
So let's just say the average is 80 times 12.
Man, that's 1,000. 960, but let's just say 1,000. Can you imagine the trauma?
Yes.
And because a lot of those folks, first of all, they lose their houses probably because they're having a hard time. They lost their job. And then all of a sudden, you know what? They're this much into homelessness.
Yes. Yeah.
That's where it starts. The best way, in my view, to address homelessness is to get people to not be homeless in the first place.
And how do you do that? You do everything you can to help them stay in their homes.
Wow. Hold that thought. We have an Alex on the line. Let's get Alex. Let's get Alex on the line there. I think you said there was an Alex on the line.
Yeah.
Alex? Brother, please. Okay, one moment.
Alex, what do you got for me? A tip from Gilbert.
Okay, I'll transfer you now.
Keeping people in their homes.
Amen.
Yeah.
Alex, what do you got for me? Alex. Can you hear me, Alex? Well, while we're waiting for her.
Hello?
Alex, are you there?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Well, as we're waiting for her, and here you are. You got me, Gilbert, a tip from me with Pastor Claude Cummins III, and my sidekick, Ruby Dang. What do you got for us today?
I wanted to ask Pastor Cummings, what are some of the different ways that we can support him? I do like that first initiative that he mentioned prior to me calling right now. So just different ways to support him, and if there's any events that people can go to get to know him a little bit better.
Oh, wonderful. What do we got? What do we got going?
That's a great question. At this point, Alex, I just need votes. And so, again, I think I have an incredible message, an incredible vision. Share that vision with as many people as you can and encourage them to go vote. We're praying for at least a runoff. And so if that happens, of course, we will have additional events. And if it's okay with Mr. Garcia here, I'll come back on the show and share those.
Please.
But most importantly right now is just to encourage as many people as you possibly can to go and vote for Claude Cummings III for Harris County Tax Assessor Collector. Because, again, I'm running for one reason and one reason only, and that's to help keep people in their homes.
Yeah, but let's go another step, though. So what's your website? Alex, there's always things. Where's the website?
So
what is the website?
The website is Claude for Harris County, Claude, CLAUDE, FOUR, Harris County.
And, of course, there's a donate button, I'm sure.
You can donate as well, but voting. Go out and vote.
Yes.
You want to meet, go have a meeting at the poll with a group of family and friends, Alex, and encourage them to vote for me, and that would be greatly appreciated.
Very good.
Perfect.
So,
thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Have you voted, Alex?
No, I was actually planning on going this week. Is early voting still happening?
Yes, it goes till Friday,
Goes
right?
till Friday the 7th.
So, Alex, there you go. Now you're on the hook. You got to vote.
Thank you,
You got to
Alex.
vote early.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you.
Thank you for calling in, Alex. Now, I had the pleasure. I went to Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church, and like across the way or right there was a voting center.
Yes.
And I don't know. I mean, first of all, do you know how many pages I went through on this thing?
Oh my God.
64.
No way.
64.
Yeah.
Wow.
And of course, I don't know. I mean, here we are. I mean, when I was young, I would think, young Gilbert at one time was young.
Right.
I would think by the time of 2024, we're going to be having like Jetsons. We're going to be in the air,
Yep.
Right.
and here we are. We still got cars,
Yeah.
and I thought, and sure, we were doing this great stuff on voting, but you can buy a car online.
Yes.
You can buy everything online.
Yes.
I can get my groceries online.
Yes.
I can get, anything delivered online, but yet you can't register to vote online and you can't vote online. And guess what? So I had the sheet of paper and it went in.
Paper.
But the thing is, whatever happened to we had the big tablet where you turned it around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had thousands of those tablets.
Right.
What happened to those? I don't know. But at the end of the day, as I'm flipping through, because some things only had like one name,
Right.
Mhm.
but yet
No
you had to
opponent.
flip through.
Right.
64 pages.
Yes.
Jeez.
And I don't know. I'd like to think I'm educated.
Right.
But when I look at these judicial candidates and things, I'm like, I don't know what they do.
Right.
I don't know them. I've never seen. I don't know. And I just felt so, I don't know, inadequate somehow
Yeah.
because I'm like, God, I know it's important.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I voted, but I just felt like I wasn't quite sure about things.
Right.
And so, I voted. It was in and out. But I did something really cool. You ready for this? There was a press conference ad hoc with Sheila Jackson Lee, and she had I guess there's 3 people running in that race.
Yes.
Amanda Edwards, Sheila Jackson Lee, and the third one escapes me right now.
Slater.
Slater, okay.
Mhm.
Well, there was a press concert because he has now conceded, and he now is endorsing Sheila.
Okay.
Hmm.
And I thought,
I saw
God,
that.
think
Mhm.
about that for a second,
Right.
because what courage.
Right.
He could have waited till afterwards and said, let's see who's going to be, and then let me try to broker my influence. Instead, he says, we just need Sheila Jackson Lee. I heard the whole thing. It was unbelievable. It was really wonderful. And there was a good group of people there. I was
Right.
there, a bunch of people. And so was the Congressman Jesse Jackson's son.
Yes.
Mm.
He was there.
Right.
And he remembered us because, Ruby and I have worked with his father, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, on the Wall Street Project, which is trying to do, diversified financial services. So we've met with him, and so anyways, I had a chance to do that, and it was just great.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was just super, super great. And of course, I went to the NAACP
Yeah.
event for their gala. And let me tell you, it was packed.
Yes.
It was packed.
Yeah.
And the other thing that was interesting is I bought a table, and obviously Reverend Dixon is wonderful, so I just love him, and I love the NAACP and what they're doing. But I also was motivated because they were given the President's Award, or whatever the award is, for Frumencio Reyes, even though he's passed. They call it
Yes.
whatever that's called again.
Mhm.
And it kind of showed a bunch of pictures of his life.
Sure.
And I had a lot of his family at the table with me,
Awesome.
at my table. And what a great man he is.
Awesome.
Mhm.
And he was the one, it was really Frumencio, it was Ben Reyes
Yes.
and Mickey Leland
Yes.
that started this whole concept of we need to have a black and brown coalition to really move the city forward. Those
Sure.
were the 3
Yeah.
that really started doing it. And the pictures of of them together are priceless.
It's amazing.
First, they all have big hair.
Right.
They all have big hair.
Right.
All. But those are beautiful things. And that's why when people talk about, boy, you look at the ballot, and if you look at that ballot, if you're saying, holy cow, then you know what I said when I was voting.
Sure.
When you think about things, you've got to know history.
Yes.
And when people say, oh, critical race theory, you go, what do you mean
Right.
critical race theory? I mean, history is history, and we've got to know the things that got us here so we don't repeat the things that we shouldn't repeat.
Right.
And so we can keep striving for the better things.
Mhm.
And so I just thought that was just a wonderful, wonderful thing. So going back, how many employees are there in the tax assessor?
There are 398,
Wow.
almost 400 employees.
Are you ready to be in charge of all that? That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of responsibility over 16 locations. And
16 locations?
16 locations throughout the county in which you can go pay your taxes or go register to vote or go do your vehicle registration.
And when you protest, you don't go there.
No.
That's the HCAT.
HCAT. Yes.
Okay.
HCAT.
Very, very good. Well, that's even bigger than I thought.
Oh, it's huge. It's a huge.
It
operation.
is huge.
It is.
And the current tax assessor collector is just not running, right?
She's no longer running.
So it's an open seat.
It's an open seat. She's done an amazing job, but she's chose not to run again.
Interesting. So now it's time for, I don't know, someone that's hungry again, that's ready to do something, especially with your whole view of, I'm going to just say, well, you said one thing.
Yes.
What are the other two?
So advocacy and education. So first of all, try to keep those people in their homes, and then do a countywide, number 2, education on how to keep your home, how to protest your taxes, which will lower your taxes. Make sure you apply for all of your exemptions. So that's the education piece. And then the other piece is put you on a payment plan in which you can afford to stay in your home and buy groceries.
Wonderful. Boy, I think Houston and Harris County, we need Pastor. Yeah. Now, I know there was a Ernie. Did Ernie drop?
Yeah.
Well, maybe she'll call back in a minute. Before I get this next caller, I want to make a statement here. And again, I know I'm behind on my whole episode about Metro. And don't worry, because I got plenty. But, we've got elections here, so I want to use today and next week. But I couldn't resist. Sometimes you just got to call out silliness, right? And so I'm calling it out, Ruby. What can I tell you? Yeah, I have to do this. So the mayor was addressing in his ceremonial swearing in, and he, according to the Chronicle, and this is the Chronicle, he blamed Metro for road conditions. Blaming Metro. Are you ready for this? Because, quote, buses tear up streets, unquote. Wait a minute. First of all, do you know the entire bus fleet is about 1,100 to 1,200 buses? Yeah. The entire. I just had an intern of mine. Do you know how many ride cars in Harris County? By the way, Houston is essentially most of Harris County, right? Right. I mean, the metro, the service area. Right. Remember, the service area is 1,200 square miles, and the county is about 1,700 square miles. So it's not quite apple to apples, but it's pretty doggone close. Right. 210,000 vehicles. 210,000. And remember, a lot of those are 18-wheelers, delivery trucks. I mean, big trucks, big, 210,000. But yet we're trying to blame the roads on Metro. So I guess that's why they're going to take Metro's money. Wow. Because they're the ones that, and remember, those routes are only on certain streets where the routes are. Right. And they just do those routes every day. Right. Versus, we all know potholes and all that are everywhere. That's right. The streets are bad everywhere. Now, it's not the mayor's fault. Right. It's because we just haven't been fixing them for a long time. Right. And so 210,000 vehicles, and I guess we're saying it's about 1,200. Oh, my God. Someone, please. Wow. Always fact check things, Houston. So let's go back. We have a caller.
Brother Chris.
Brother Chris, what do you got?
Good morning. First of all, I want to thank you for the show. And you have Brother Clark third there. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what brother just said. He's running because he cares about homelessness. That's his only reason. So, and as the scripture says, blessed the man who has regard to the poor. God will raise him from the sick bed. Brother Clark, come and show regard to the poor by trying to do something like that.
Brother Chris, I know you're on a roll, but you're going in and out. So
I'll say that better.
That's better. Go. Do it all again because I felt you.
Second ago, Brother Clark Thomas running because he cares about the homeless of the people. No other reason. And as scripture said, blessed is the man who has regard for the poor. God will raise him from the sick bed. This is an excellent choice, excellent candidate. He has my support, your support, and he'll be the first African male to hold this seat in Houston, Arizona, people. Let's support this brother all day long, all day strong, and get him out of the without a runoff.
Well, Brother Chris, I so appreciate you. Let me see. You're in the know. What are you hearing out there in the streets about turnout?
Well, a lot of people are waiting for. Some people like to actually go on the actual day itself. but the numbers are picking up now because they know they had the early voting. It's the last week of early voting, but the numbers begin to pick up now. I'm out here at this state. I'm going from poll to poll. The numbers are picking up. We're also trying to get more our young people to the polls, but we have a lot of older ones. We're trying to get more younger people involved, and that's going to make a difference. While I have the airway, please support Vivian King, Kim Barr, Jamaica Lewis, and Denise Brown as long as good brother Clark coming. These are good candidates, these are good people that actually care. These people is not doing this because they need a job or the money. They're doing it because they care. They want to make a positive difference for Houston County.
Well, Brother Chris, I'm going to have to ask you to call again next week. You know why? Your phone is going in and out, brother, but I know I feel you, and we heard some of those names you mentioned. Can you please call in next week?
I definitely will. Thank you guys for having me. Come and keep up the good work, brother.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, we have 2 more callers. Is there an Ernie there?
Ernie, let me transfer you.
Ernie, are you there?
Yeah, she's there.
Ernie, are you there? Ernie.
Hello?
Ernie, you got me, Gilbert, and you got my sidekick, Ruby, and Claude Cummins III. What do you got there, Ernie? What do you got for us today?
Well, first I want to say congrats to you for doing such a great job during Black History Month. You always are the steadfast leader, Gilbert, and having Claude on, acknowledging the importance of the vote for Claude is so important, and then actually supporting the NAACP, supporting the Children's Museum, which is having Black Heritage Month this week, and just so much that you do. And I also want to say thank you to Claude because he invited me to go out to also promote him at the voting sites, and I was happy to do it because I know all his hard work, and I learned about him through Gilbert, and I really appreciate you, Claude.
Thank you.
For standing tall.
Well, let me ask you,
during this very hard time.
Ernie, is turnout low? Do you think it's low, or are you getting steady voters?
Well, over at the municipal, we were doing steady. But they were telling me that's not a good measurement because they always get a good turnout.
Well,
and so we just have to really evaluate how else to get the word out. And, my mom is just, I'm happy to celebrate her 92nd birthday.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. Amen.
Yes. And I wanted to make sure Gilbert knew because my mom on her birthday, she said, do we have our Hispanic mayor yet?
Oh my
God.
God.
I said, Mom,
I love your mom.
Her. I said, Mom, we didn't get it. And she says, well, I use my home as a refuge for all the people that were voting. And I said, I know, Mom.
That is so great.
She had all the signs there. She was making little taquitos for people to come pick up their signs. And let me tell you, she's not giving up. She said, hey, Gilbert in 4 years. Okay.
There you go.
We got to get this done. She's not giving up.
I like the sound of that.
That sounds great.
Yes, she wants to see a Mexicano in her lifetime.
Yes.
Before she leaves this world, she said, "I want a Mexicano in that office."
Well, you know what? It's time, Ernie. It's just time. Come on, we're half the city. It's time.
And all the people you're supporting, especially Claude, we have to be thankful because he really is the right one to get the people in order as far as how they can get a home, who is responsible. And Gilbert, if anybody knows numbers, you and Claude can get this done.
Amen. Ernie, thank you for calling. And I hope you call in next week. We're just running out of time, but thank you for calling.
Thank you for your support, Ms. Deborah.
I'll for sure get you some of Mom's cake.
Oh, I want some, especially if it's chocolate or yellow on the inside. Either one. I'll take them either one. Thank you, Ernie. We've got about a minute and a half. Is there another caller? No, okay, good. Houston, not good, but I understand we're running out of time. I want to make sure Claude Cummins III really has the rest of this time, and I'm just going to let you say anything you want to say to Houston, whether you want to talk about your wonderful family or you want to talk about what inspired you to run. I think we've talked a lot about that. Or just want to talk to Houston. Whatever you got, my friend. It's all you for the next minute and a half.
No, I want to talk about my family because my family has been so supportive to me. I'm trying not to get emotional about talking about my family because they have sacrificed so much. I mentioned my wife is at a poll. I worked with my dad at a poll this weekend. I drove around the corner. My mother-in-law was at a poll.
God, that's so
and
great.
On Sunday, she took food to all of the poll workers. and my mother-in-law, my mother who's watching our daughters while we're doing all of this, my niece who is just amazing, my church who's doing so much. And so I want to take this moment to thank everyone who has done something to support my candidacy, and let you know that I love you all so much, and I would not be on the Gilbert Garcia show today without your support. So thank you so much. I love you all. Claude Cummings III for Harris County Tax Assessor, collected number 3 on the ballot, and I think I'm on page 56, Gilbert.
6,932. No, out of 64.
So thank you, Gilbert. Thank you.
You're so welcome. You know, you have such a great radio voice.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Doesn't he?
Yes.
I don't mean to. I just want you to repeat after me. Just say one thing for me. You don't mind?
No.
Luke, I am your father.
Luke, I am your father.
You know what I mean? You just got that great voice.
I was doing my best James Earl Jones.
You knocked it out of the park. He's old news now. No, I really mean it. First of all, there you go. Houston, vote for this man.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Gilbert. Thank you again for the opportunity.
This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia. Listen to my radio show, A Tip from Gilbert. Talk, inspiration, and prayer every Monday from 11 a.m. till noon on Houston's gospel leader, KWWJ. 1360 AM and streaming live on kwwj.org. Listen on the legendary KYOK 1140 AM and streaming live on kyokradio.org. KCOH 1230 AM, The Source. On San Geek Radio 95.1 FM 1460 AM. And Aliento Radio 101.7 FM and 1540 AM. Call in at 832-570-8075 and follow me on social media. See you then.